Good afternoon. My name is Tishaura Jones. I'm the mayor of the city of St. Louis. I use the she, her pronouns. It's been over 450 days since the first COVID-19 case was reported in St. Louis City. Since then, we've lost over 500 St. Louisans to COVID-19, my uncle being one of them. And the disease has touched the lives of tens of thousands more. Yesterday, I joined regional leaders on the St. Louis Pandemic Task Force for our last COVID-19 briefing. It's true, we've made an incredible progress fighting this virus. Healthcare workers, other essential workers, and everyday people stepped up to protect each other in a way that only they can. Now, we can see a light at the end of the tunnel of this pandemic. I hear many people talking about returning to normal. But do we really want to get back to normal? For most St. Louisans, normal never worked. COVID-19 exposed the deep fault lines that divide this city, along race, along income, across the Del Mar Divide. We knew these problems existed before, but COVID-19 highlighted how unsustainable the status quo truly is in this city. St. Louis cannot and must not return to the same old, same old. Nobody has time for that. The outdated policies of the past are what got us here in the first place. People say that COVID-19 is over, but from where I stand, I still see a city in crisis, still in recovery from more than a year of shock, loss, and fear. It's up to us to help each other to heal. I firmly believe that St. Louis should be a place where anyone can succeed, regardless of your skin color, who you love, how you worship, or any identity you hold. I think most of us share these values, but we aren't currently living up to them. St. Louis is at a crossroads, and the people elected me to forge a new bold path for our city. The $80 million direct relief package I am outlining today is a major break from the past, investing directly into communities and reimagining what public safety looks like in our city. This proposal stabilizes and protects our neighborhoods, which are still suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic. Most pressing is getting more shots in arms. Let me repeat that. Most pressing is getting more shots in arms. Mobile vaccine clinics, community canvases, and educational outreach will help bring up St. Louis's vaccination rate. Our collaboration with FEMA at the Dome vaccinated more than 44,000 people, but it's clear now that we need to meet residents where they are, to educate and organize so we can lift our vaccination rate from 37%. Since May, 80% of new COVID cases in St. Louis have been in predominantly Black communities. We must move quickly to protect everyone in our city and prevent more people from getting sick in order to keep the positivity rates low. Direct relief is needed to help get people back on their feet and put our neighborhoods back on a path towards truly equitable growth. We've seen an overwhelming and urgent need as our communities still grapple with the economic fallout of the pandemic. As the eviction crisis looms over our city, we want to keep families in their homes and the lights on with more than $15 million in housing and utility assistance. Just this afternoon on St. Louis on the Air, housing advocates predicted a massive wave of eviction, especially in communities of color and women-led households. We want to support our small businesses and nonprofits and give them the guidance and assistance they need to tap into federal resources. Funds for our unhoused neighbors will help keep them safe and get them back on their feet. My Stimulus Advisory Board and the public input solicited from the foundation formed the foundation of the proposal you see today. More than 2,500 people made their voices heard and expressed that what they wanted to see in this package. But I want to be clear. I've made some revisions to reflect key priorities and vision for the city. I speak often about reimagining public safety, a policy that uses all tools in the toolbox, in the prevention toolbox, and this proposal sets us on that path. I've added $3 million to community violence prevention programs to make our communities safer for a total of $5 million. I've also added another $1 million for youth jobs and programming to help keep our babies safe, most critically this summer and then through the rest of the year, also for a total of $5 million. Poverty, housing, instability, lack of access to mental health services, scarce jobs and opportunities for our youth, disinvestment, and the like. These are the real root causes of crime plaguing our city. This plan uses every tool available in our toolbox to address them. And above all else, this is a plan to deliver urgent economic relief to the families who need it. This is a plan to get more vaccines in the arms of our loved ones. And most importantly, this is a public safety plan. And this funding is just the beginning. President Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan is sending more than $500 million to our city in the coming years. Even with today's $80 million proposal, St. Louis still has over $170 million left in our piggy banks. When we use these dollars in the long term to right the historic wrongs that have held St. Louis back and prevented us from thriving. But in the immediate future, our plan today addresses the most pressing economic issues facing our communities, while laying the groundwork for more federal investment down the line. The people of St. Louis need direct relief now and deserve a fair and just recovery. The State of Missouri CARES Act deadline is July 1st. This means the Board of Aldermen, if the Board of Aldermen does not approve this additional funding by July 1st, critical COVID-19 services like rental assistance through the United Way and the Urban League will shut down. People will fall through the holes in our social safety net for absolutely no reason beyond a desire to score political points. So I say this, let's work together to keep people in their homes. Let's keep our small businesses open and get more vaccines in arms. Let's start funding the programs we need now to make our neighborhoods safer this summer. Let's try bold, new solutions to fix the same old problems we've been talking about for decades with little to show for it. I'm ready to work with the Board of Aldermen to get my proposal passed, and I'm confident that this is the best way to get St. Louis families the support they need while making our city safer for everyone, no matter where you live, no matter what zip code you live in, and what identity you hold. And with that, I'm pleased to introduce Sandy Moore, co-chair of the Stimulus Advisory Board, to walk through why these investments are so important to our communities. Sandy?
Thank you, Mayor. As the mayor has told you, my name is Sandy Moore. I am the co-chair of Mayor Jones' Stimulus Advisory Board. I serve with a host of other community leaders, community advocates on that Stimulus Advisory Board. It's composed of leaders from across St. Louis, and they have put in hundreds of hours identifying key direct relief needs and soliciting input from the public. We held hearings to get feedback from St. Louisans on the priorities we were working on. After a transparent and extensive process, we submitted our recommendations to Mayor Jones. I'm proud of the transparent, data-driven, and community-driven process we ran, and we're proud of the recommendations we've made to Mayor Jones. These recommendations are community-informed. They may not be perfect, but they are indeed what the community has told us that they need at this point in time. As our mayor has pointed out, we've got lots of problems, age-old problems and a one-time opportunity here working together to address them with the resources that have been given to us. And as a community leader and as a citizen of the region committed to that, we, the Stimulus Advisory Board, myself and all of the others, have put our shoulder to the wheel of making certain that that citizen voice is heard, and the mayor has been listening. It is our deep hope and our deep prayer that the Board of Aldermen will use this opportunity, as the mayor has indicated, to take this citizen-driven data, the citizen-driven priorities, and work with her to get it across the finish line. The very last thing that any of us want is for there to be any further gap in the services for the citizens of the city of St. Louis. And certainly with this first tranche of resources available to us, there should not be. I'm very happy to serve. I speak on behalf of all of the other SAB members, I'm sure, when I say we are happy to be here doing the best we can to help guide the process on behalf of the citizens of St. Louis. Thank you.
I mean, well, lotteries have worked well in other cities and other states, so that was just something that the board submitted as a possibility, and we'll consider it.
Can you speak specifically to the $3 million you're adding to assist in community violence? What specific programs are those going to?
So I've often talked about using every prevention tool in the toolbox. So we've spent a lot of money on cure violence, but there are other methods that work as well. And so this will expand our opportunity to invest in other programs that work to help reduce violent crime.
Can you give some examples of what those are?
Well, we're going to let the community let us know what's working.
The emergency plan funds will last for 4 years. Much of what is in here will be ongoing expenses. Where do you get the revenue after federal money runs out to keep some of these ongoing expenses going?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what we hope will happen is that this initial investment will work so well that people will come back to the city, increase our tax revenue, and therefore we'll be able to keep funding these programs.
Your plan has $8 million for an emergency shelter. Can you give some more details on that and who that would benefit?
Well, that would benefit all of our current providers of emergency shelter.
This is not a new program, it's just going to fund the things that work.
Right.
Ms. Newman report today, the city population has dropped. And we're moving out. Public safety issues. Programs you're talking about. What is the emergency safety? People are asking, including in the community, that want to see more police. How do you square that?
Well, we've also seen across the country that investing more in police doesn't actually reduce crime, but investing in root causes actually does. And so this is a robust plan to invest in the root causes of crime, poverty, economic access, programs for youth for the summer to keep them off the streets. So we figure that the more that we can give people more access to opportunity, it will reduce crime.
What about the population? How are you going to try and combat that? There is certainly right now.
Well, that's a longer term strategy, working together with our new SLDC Executive Director, Neil Richardson, to attract more businesses to St. Louis. There are businesses that are still looking at St. Louis as a relocation opportunity. So we'll work with SLDC and our other partners to devise ways to increase our population. But if we solve all of these other problems, that'll also increase our population as well.
We are seeing a standstill in the Black community of people who are wanting to go out and get vaccines, and you said that you want to go and meet them where they're at. What if that resistance is still there? What if people just simply don't want to take the vaccine? What's the next step?
Well, I think that we'll also probably see more employers requiring vaccinations in order to stay employed. And so hopefully, but we're also meeting people where they are, and we'll also be doing more public-facing events with doctors from the communities that are impacted to show them or to let them know and educate them that vaccines are safe.
Will there still be some type of, I guess, middle ground to respect someone's decision if they don't want to take it?
Well, that's a personal decision that person has to make. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
Tomorrow, at the Board of Equalization apportionment, and what are you going to do after that to get this passed by July 1st?
Well, my training in the legislature tells me that we have to talk to everybody and count the votes. So I will continue reaching out to aldermen to get their support on Board Bill 2. And I've already been in contact with other members of the Board of E&A.
How are those conversations going? Obviously, this is not just your recommendation. You've got to go through, you've got to count those votes. How are those talks going? Can you get this done in a timely fashion of all the moving pieces that exist?
Well, of the aldermen that I have spoken to, the conversations have gone well. And I've also started to ask them what are their priorities for the next round of funding that we'll have to determine. Because I want to make sure that they are a part of this process. I've also talked to all of the citywide elected officials as well. They are a part of this city. Being a former county elected official, we have to respect that. So I've also talked to them about their wish list as well.
Things that those aldermen are asking for you in the next round?
They haven't expressed that, but I just told them to put together their lists.
Sarah, you mentioned it, or you didn't mention it, but I looked at the guidebook real quickly, and you have a line in there for targeted cash assistance.
Yes.
Should we assume it's as described in the earlier pandemic advisory board explanations? I think it was $350 to $500. Is that what you're looking at?
Yes, that's what we're looking at.
And it's aimed at people who are cut off from expanded unemployment benefits primarily?
The parameters in which we'll distribute that is still being put together, so stay tuned on that.
I mean, should I report that it's aimed at those people that were on unemployment?
No, you shouldn't report that. Yeah.
For your policing initiatives, you mentioned working from the ground up, building up those community programs for young kids. What specifically are you looking to add the $1 million that you're adding to that with those individual communities and neighborhoods that really those kids need the most help?
Well, our youth-led program through our recreation centers, through working with our school district to provide opportunities for our youth to have programming in the summer, as well as youth jobs to make sure that they have an opportunity to earn an income this summer. And St. Louis is hiring. The government is hiring. I have to keep saying that.
The budget itself for the next fiscal year counts on some of the federal money to balance out the gap.
Yes.
Assuming that'll come in later appropriations, that the federal funds for that, or when can we see that kind of directly to the city budget?
Well, as soon as the board sends us the budget back, the Board of E&A and I will be able to add revenue from the stimulus funds to plug that gap.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.